Look at
Hello,
that.
Grace.
Grace. Grace, so cool to see you from Central Coast in California. That means it's almost your bedtime, right? But talking of time, I think we're right on time, Sharon. My time says about 7:20. I'm noticing the clocks on the B1G1 wall, which is where Sharon is this
That's
morning,
right.
saying about 7:20. Let me just stop the share for a moment and say a huge good morning to you, Singapore time. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. It is just such a thrill that you have joined us on this very special, it is very, very special, by the way, web session today. And we're going to be doing new things, things that we haven't done before as well. So, which is kind of exciting. And you're going to meet Sharon in just a moment. But first of all, let me share my screen so that we can get an idea of where we're going to go today. It's kind of like agenda time, if you like, right? So, because I want to make you know, this is like, when they tell you what airplane you're on, just to make sure you're on the same airplane, right? So on the right one. So this is automating your giving. And it's exciting. The way I think about this is making your giving work wonders for you. And so now, because we're working wonders, or at least Sharon is going to be working some wonders, very important that you close every other window. We need you right here. I don't mean the windows in your house. I mean the windows on your thing. Very important you just stay right here, because there's going to be some things that happen very quickly, as you're going to discover. Sharon is very quick with the things that she does. So let's take a look at where we are heading. The three things. One, you're going to meet Sharon. I mean, it's going to be Sharon's thing today. You're already saying hello and all of that kind of stuff up on the chat. More about that in just a moment, actually. You are going to see a wide range of real life examples of the wonderful things that can happen when you automate your giving. And you're going to select a DIY. Now, you know what DIY stands for, right? Do it yourself. But I wonder what DWY stands for. You might want to guess that on the chat. The DWY option to help you move forward. Because the idea of this is to get some really good stuff, and you're going to, oh my goodness, I would love to implement this. And we're going to give you lots of implementation ideas. But first, and Sharon, this is where it's a little bit different than the slides you've got. But first, we want to find out where you are, okay? So jump up on the chat and let us know where you are now, and you might want to tell us what's the weather like, and make sure that you have that all panelists and attendees things down. So go, jump up on the chat. We want this to be as interactive as you can. There we go. People coming. Oh my goodness me, look at the chat flying there. That's really, really cool. Make sure I can see it there. Perry and Carolyn in Perth today. Hi, Carolyn, great to see you. We saw you last week in Sydney. Kim and Grace again from Central Coast in California. Come on, jump up there. Do remember, yes, Sunny Coast, says Georgia. Do remember to say all panelists. Okay, Sharon, you're monitoring the chat there, so I'm going to let that go. Oh, Melbourne. Look at all the people in Melbourne. Lisa in Portland in Oregon. Gosh, people from everywhere. By the way, don't forget to tell us what the weather's like. Okay, make sure you do that, because we need to know. In Singapore, it is the same as it is every day. The only place in the world that has a recorded weather forecast. It's going to be 30 degrees with a chance of a thunderstorm. So, so that's where we are. And just before we get underway, the personal bit. And the personal bit is to let you know how thrilled I have been to see the great work that Sharon and the team have been doing on this automation process. And so let me show you just very quickly, because Sharon's going to do the main thing here, what this looks like for me. This is this is actually from the front of one of my B1G1 accounts. And you'll see there on the right-hand side, I have there you go. I have a giving story which says, when someone completes a giving plan, we give 6 days of access to e-learning to children in India. And what used to happen was that I used to have to track manually, what was actually happening. But let me show you right now what is happening. This is literally live, or kind of close to live actually right now. And you can see that since I last did the payment, as it were, for that, you can see that there have been 103. See it right there in the middle of your screen. And you'll notice, so that the automation just tracks it for me, keeps count of it, pops it into my giving cart. So I'm still in control of what happens, as in I can choose to alter it and so on and so forth. And I just reckon that is awesome. Good morning, Grant. Great to have you on your first ever B1G1 special web event. So there you go. You can see it right up there. And by the way, it's not me that thinks it's great, just me. We have had a number of beta, whichever way you like to say it, users doing this together with Sharon. She might talk with you a little bit about that. And look at what Tim Wade said up on, you can see there, August 15th. He said, I just created a new giving story, added it to my website with a subscribe link that opens a squeeze page. I linked the subscription to the giving story. I just love it when stuff works. Great stuff, B1G1 team. And so it is exciting. I mean, people are actually getting really excited about this, and hopefully you will with that today. Now, what I'm going to do is stop my share just for a moment and introduce you to Sharon. Now, Sharon said I had this slide on, who Sharon is and all that kind of stuff, and she said, don't show that. So let me just quickly tell you about Sharon, because you're going to get that she's a pretty talented person. So she graduated in 2008 from Raffles. Then she joined us as an intern, not just an intern, a superstar intern in 2014. I mean, it was amazing. And she actually did the very first B1G1 app called Shake the World. Then she completed her studies at Singapore Management University, was valedictorian there in 2015, then went off to work for the government in an entity called Spring. She was a manager of business capabilities there, and Spring is one of the government departments that does amazing things with the small to medium scale business sector in Singapore. And when Sharon left us as an intern, we said, Sharon, please come back when you want to. And she did, thankfully, in 2017, and is now the Director of Strategy and Systems at B1G1. So Sharon, huge welcome to you, and thank you on behalf of everyone for all the amazing work that you've been doing in relation to this. So let me flip it over to you. Do you want to start to do whatever it is you're going to do with us this morning? Maybe that's like share your screen as well.
Yeah, sure. I will share my screen in a moment. Hi, good morning, everybody, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm Sharon from the B1G1 team, and welcome to today's special web event on automating your giving. So I'm just about to share my screen. All right. Yes. And today we're going to focus on automating your giving with Zapier. But before we dive in, I just wanted to share the motivation behind the development. So B1G1 was founded on a very visionary what if. What if you could change lives by doing what you do every day? And this is the question that really drives the entire B1G1 team to do its hard work every day at the office. And it's something that just motivates us each and every day. We've seen from Paul the Giving Story feature, which allows you to link a business activity with a giving towards a high impact project. And today with the B1G1 integration with Zapier, we are just that one step closer to achieving this reality, because you could just imagine that as you do your business activities, as people book calls with you, as clients purchase things from you, all that giving is then automatically added to your giving cart. And all you need to do is just log into B1G1, see that giving that has transpired over the week or the couple of weeks, and then just check out your giving. So so that would be really cool. So that's reason number one for why we developed the B1G1 Zapier integration. Reason number two is that Zapier is actually a platform that 3 million plus businesses are using today to automate different workflows in their business. So what this means is that when B1G1 becomes official on Zapier, it's not only the 3,000 businesses in the B1G1 movement that actually gets to benefit from this, but potentially the 3 million plus businesses on Zapier now have a solution to change lives and create impacts just by what they're doing every day. So thank you for being here with us, and thank you for being part of this movement to make this change in the business world. We're so excited to show you what this is about. So for those who are new to Zapier, let me just give a very quick overview of what it is. It's essentially an online automation tool that allows you to, without any coding experience, create automated workflows, also known as Zaps, that connect different apps that you use every day. And they like to say that Zapier rhymes with happier, and we think that now with B1G1, Zapier makes your giving happier as well. So yes, with B1G1 and Zapier, now B1G1 can talk to and can connect with more than 1,500 apps, and these apps include things like Infusionsoft, Xero, and MailChimp. So I'm going to share with you a couple of these real-life examples in a minute or so. But before that, I'd love to find out more about you. So let us know. Paul is going to set up a quick poll right now.
Oh yeah, let me
Let
set up
us
a
know
poll. There we
if
go.
you are a Zapier user, and you can, I think the options are yes, no, and not yet. Yeah, that's right. So
Not yet. There you go.
so hopefully if you're in the not yet
So let's
category,
see.
then
Oh, look at
keep
that!
using
It's
that.
tracking. Not sure whether everybody can see the tracking, but it's it was tracking at 50-50 early on, but now it's tracking at 70-30. 70 is not yet, which is really cool. Well, hopefully we're going to change that for you today. So if you haven't yet voted, we're going to give you 10 more seconds. So go jump up there. It's pretty simple. It's like a yes or a not yet. Maybe we should have had a not sure as well. That's good. Got almost everybody voted. I think there's like 2 people who haven't. So if you haven't yet voted, just click the button. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 seconds. There we go. Well done. Well, it's a 75-25 split, Sharon.
Oh wow!
75
Which way?
not 75 not yet, and 25 yes.
Wow.
That
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah, that is. So
So
for the 25%, good news is that you're going to find the examples here very easy to follow. You might even find things that you could copy and paste into your business right away. And for the rest of you, well, the DWY option will probably be very useful for you. So stay tuned. All right, and
exactly. So
then the next question that we have, this requires you to get on the chat because it's a free text question. Tell us, what apps do you use most regularly in your business? So these could be social media apps, these could be CRM softwares, project management tools, and so on. Email management tools, yeah, whatever it is. Let us know what apps you currently use.
So this would be things like Infusionsoft, MailChimp. Any other examples, Sharon? That
Yeah,
we
like
what about your
QuickBooks,
accounting system? That'd be interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, your accounting system. Thanks, Eli. Yes, Xero. Some people might say, "Oh, Xero, Instagram." That's exactly right, Georgia. We want to need it. Oh, look at the Xero people here. This program is brought to you by Xero. Ontraport, great example. Quick and Google. Yes, NetSuite. Oh, look at that, a NetSuite one. Oh. Kenny, good. Oh, fantastic. Wix, awesome, Carolyn. Yeah, great stuff. Zoom, yeah. HealthKit, Receipt Bank. Thank you, Liddell. MailChimp. So do that because Infusionsoft. Oh, Lou, thank you. Looking forward to seeing you at B1G1X as well. Interesting stuff. Now, let's get back to Sharon, but keep that feedback coming in, if you would, please, as to the apps you use. It's going to be very important. Okay, Sharon, great stuff.
Yeah, so the good news is that for all the Xero people and I think some of the other ones that are common like Infusionsoft, you're going to see the examples today, and I'm so excited to share that with you. So we're heading on to the, oops, sorry, just give me a minute. Kind of just lost my cursor there and everything is going backwards. So time on the first example on Xero as well as the last example. So let's just give it time to load. All right.
And by the way, you can see this is load. So we're going to look at this first example, which is whenever a new invoice is paid, we give 2 school meals. So just to be clear, Sharon, that is a giving story that someone has got in B1G1. Is that right?
Yeah. So in fact, I have my B1G1 account over here as well, and I will be sharing. Let me just show you all my giving stories. So for those who are new to the giving story feature, right now it's really easy to create a giving story. It just takes less than a minute or so. So you can see over here, I have already created a giving story in my B1G1 account. That is, when an invoice is paid, we give 2 school meals to children in need in India. And this is the one that we're going to kind of automate through Zapier today. Yeah, so once you have that story set up, it's really easy how it's going to work. So let me just get into Zapier and show that to you. Yeah.
Don't you love that? Zapier rhymes with happier. I like that.
Oh, interesting. We have like a little error message here from Zapier today. That's very helpful. Okay, so what you need to know with Zapier is that essentially there are 2 steps. One is the trigger and one is the action. And in this case, the trigger is basically what starts the Zap running, and the action is what you want the Zap to do. So in this case, because in B1G1 we track our invoices through Xero, just like many of you on the chat today, we're going to select Xero as the trigger app, and then out of the out of the available triggers, we're going to select new sales invoice, and then we actually get additional settings as well to select a paid invoice. So once an invoice is paid on Xero, that triggers the Zap, and the magic begins here. We add a giving story to the cart. So we connect our B1G1 app and account, and over here you'll see that I can actually select a giving story. So if I were to show you the drop down over here, this is actually a whole list of all the giving stories I have on my B1G1 account. Most of you probably have fewer than this, but yeah. So I select this giving story. When an invoice is paid, we give 2 school meals to children in need in India. And let me show you how that works right now. So I'm just going to flip back to my cart, and you can see that it's at 0 over here, which means that it's empty. So Zapier allows you to test your Zaps to simulate a paid invoice and see how everything works. So that's what we're going to do right here. And it says, okay, it was sent. And you can see, it is.
Oh, look at that. Whoa.
Now. So I promise there was nobody pressing the buttons behind the screens. This is just automated through the test through Zapier. So that's how easy it is. Whenever an invoice is paid, when the Zap is turned on, this giving story just gets added to my cart. And as the week goes by, this quantity is going to increase, and I'm going to see the giving kind of all accumulate. So that's the first
Fantastic.
example. I hope that makes all good sense. Everyone has been following me so far. Besides giving every time you get paid, there could be many other ways that you're embedding giving in your business processes right now. If you are a great B1G1 member and you've been going through all the Get Started videos. So a couple of ideas could be, for example, whenever someone subscribes to your newsletter, you could add a giving story to the cart. Or whenever you complete a task for a client, you could add a giving story to the cart as well. So for these type of Zaps, you could see that the structure of the Zap is actually very similar to the first one. You have a trigger, and then you have an action. So let me just quickly bring you through these examples. The action is the same, which is adding a giving story to the cart, but the trigger now is different. So in this example, for B1G1, whenever someone subscribes to our newsletter, we actually add a tag to a contact in our CRM, which is Infusionsoft. So that's why my trigger is using the Infusionsoft app. And over here, you would see a whole list of triggers that you can put in. And we have selected tag added to contact. So we can also specify which tag is added to the contact. For us, it happens to be tag 799 that is added to our contacts every time someone subscribes to our newsletter. So with that, it starts the Zap running. And I can see over here, I set up this giving story, which is when you subscribe to our newsletter, we give 5 bricks towards building school facilities. So I'm just going to test this as well. Yeah. And you can see that it all works. All right. So if I were to refresh my giving cart, yeah, so here we go. When you subscribe to our newsletter, so this giving story is added as well. So that's basically how it is. There's no real rocket science behind it. Let me just bring.
By the way, you may think there's no rocket science there, Sharon, but Helen has just said on the chat, "Oh my, this is brilliant." She said, "I do recall the idea being discussed, and this is going to streamline our process of connecting giving, which will now be automated by our bookkeeper." Got it in one, Helen. Got it absolutely in one.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's no rocket science for you, but the developers have been working very hard to make this possible. So third example, whenever we complete a task, we add a giving story to the cart. This is for B1G1 and specifically for my work. I use Trello to manage tasks and projects with my developers. And so in this case, we've selected Trello as the app. The trigger that I've selected is a cart moving to a list. So in my Trello board, which is designed task Trello board, whenever I move a cart to the completed list, that's when I know that something was completed. And this would set up this would get the Zap running. And I have similarly a giving story over here, which is to provide 12 daily doses of vitamin supplements. So I'm just going to test this as well.
Just whilst you're testing that, Sharon, some other people might be using Asana as opposed to Trello, and I'm pretty certain we could do exactly the same thing with Asana, right? Because it's
I'm pretty certain. Yeah, I mean, in 1,500 apps, so I'm sure you'll find something that you'll be able to use.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the first three. The fourth one is an interesting one, and I actually got this idea from Monty Hook, one of our premium partners in B1G1, and he talks about embedding a giving with his social media activity. And the reason that he wants to do something like that, whenever we post on Instagram, we add a giving story to the cart, is because he feels that, I mean, as all of you businesses here, I'm sure you have some form of social media presence, and sometimes you might struggle with posting content regularly or remembering to do so, so that you can engage your community and your clients better. Monty has that same issue, and he thinks that when he embeds giving to his social media, then that creates an additional incentive and additional accountability for him to keep his social media presence active. So yeah, that could be a really interesting way to embed giving in your business. So over here, I have the Instagram example, and the trigger is having a new media posted in my account. So every time I post something on B1G1's Instagram account, I could add a giving story to the cart. And over here,
When you say add a giving story, Sharon, what you basically means you increment an existing giving story, right? It's
yes,
not creating a giving story. The giving story
no,
already exists. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I'm just going to test this as well. And
By the way, watch this. This is so cool. This is just so cool. Have a look at this.
Yep, and it says success again. Okay, no surprises there. If you ever meet any errors, usually the help messages are there to help you to figure out how to make it go from error to success. And if you ever need any help, you can always reach out to us at systems@b1g1.com. So,
by the way, some of you might be thinking, oh my God, this looks complex and everything else, and we're going through this very quickly. Stay tuned, because you're going to get some really, really exciting information on the implementation. So just kind of sit back and go for it for a minute. This one, you've got to see. This is cool. Have a look at this one.
So now we're in the last example, and I mentioned that we are going to spend more time on this because this is a very exciting one. So before you go away thinking that, oh, okay, with the Zapier, I just need to have a giving story and it's app number 1 to B1G1. Well, there's actually a lot more to it, and I really want to encourage all of you to unleash your creative juices with this giving automation tool. So I call this the Customer Delight Giving Zap, and I'm going to show, I turned it on over here so that I can actually show you live how it's going to work. So for example, if most of you, if some of your businesses actually do interact with your customers online on a regular basis, you may have these customer surveys from time to time, whether it's once a year or whether it's perhaps after the delivery of a product or service. So follow through with me with the survey. So you could ask, for example, like,
so
how
now we're in the survey. We're in the survey itself, right? So let's say you got a 10, right?
Yeah. And yeah, so let's say we got a 10, and then it can say, oh, we love to show our gratitude by having you choose a project that you'd like us, the company, to give towards. And you can give your customers a variety of projects to choose from. So for example, I would choose Rescue One Meal for the Hungry, and I click submit, and this is where the magic happens. Okay, so it says, that's awesome. Just by you doing business with us and filling in the survey form, we've created 10 impacts towards the project of your choice. So I'm just going to flip into my cart, and don't blink over here. I'm going to refresh it. And you can see, there we go. This giving story was just added to my cart auto-magically. It says, when someone fills in our customer delight survey and chooses meals, we rescue one meal for the hungry in the US. And then that's added to the cart. So how does this work? This is through this Zap. You can see that the structure of the Zap looks a bit different. So let me just step in to show you how it looks.
By the way, if you think that is cool, just write, I think this is cool in the chat or whatever. And by the way, this is just an example of kind of, as Sharon was saying, how creative you can be, and of course, how we can help you be creative. And you'll see some ways that we can get involved with that as we go. So look, lots of cool. Lots of coolies. Some of them. And Helen, you might want to change your little setting to all panelists and attendees, so that the attendees can see how you're spelling cool, which is all right. Sorry, Sharon, go.
Yeah, okay. So similar to the previous Zaps, we have a trigger. So every Zap starts with a trigger. And in this case, it's a new entry in the type form because our survey example was done on type form. So every time there's a
So
new entry,
Typeform, just to be clear, Typeform is one of the 1,500 apps
apps. Yeah.
that Zapier zaps into. Yes, exactly right.
Yeah, so you could use Cognito Forms, you could use Jot Form, and whatever it is, you probably would find a similar solution for on Zapier. And the difference is that instead of one action, you can see that there's actually this paths over here, which has multiple actions. So this is actually a premium feature that allows you to put in conditional logic. So depending on what the customer selected on the Delight survey, whether it's project A, B, or C, then that leads to adding a different giving story to your cart. And I can just step in over here, and you can actually also do multiple step zaps. So after adding the story to the cart, it could send me a Slack direct message to let me know that something has just happened and get me really excited to go into my cart to check it out as well. So all of these are actually possible on Zapier. And of course, so I just wanted to share also that Zapier is actually a free tool that any business can get on at any time. No credit card details required. And the free plan allows you to have 5 Zaps and up to 100 incidences. So they can run a total of 100 times. But if you'd like more, and if you'd like such premium features like multiple steps and the conditional logic features or filter features, things like that, that usually comes with a paid plan, and it could start from like $20 a month.
It's about $20 a month, right? So,
yeah. Yeah, so that's just very simple for you to get on. So I wanted to share this example because I think there's just so much possibility as to how you can embed giving into your business. And well, we're just very excited to see what you can build and what kind of giving would come out of it. Yeah.
That's awesome. And we wanted to do that very quickly. Thank you, Sharon. It's not easy to go through that. And by the way, thank you so much for all your comments. When I first saw this, and we'll get back to letting you know how to take advantage of this in just a minute, but when I first saw this, I said this was about 6 months ago, because it takes that long for us to make this work. And we're just so thrilled that you joined us for the first public showing of this, right? I said, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I said, this is a game changer. This is a real game changer, because as Helen pointed out earlier on one of her messages, stuff in relation to giving, it's just done. It's just so you can go, oh, if giving is to be a central part of my business, I can now automate that automatically and get all of these other apps. It's just such a freeing thing to enable you to do. Now, Sharon, I think I should be sharing my screen at this point and showing people how to do things, how to actually get involved. Am I right about that? Is that about where I should?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yep.
So let me just
go ahead and share your screen.
I will just fast forward a little bit to, okay, so let's just cover off where we have been and then where we are going to go. We met Sharon. Sharon, just confirmed that you're seeing that. Are you seeing that?
Yes.
You are, okay.
All good.
So we met Sharon, and you'll understand why, I Masami and we all get very delighted that Sharon's part of the B1G1 team. You understand that now? We've seen a wide range. By the way, Sharon had wow, this many. And we said, oh no, we'll be here all day. So there's many, many more. And what we're now going to do is to show you the options that you can take to bring this literally into your business with excitement and so on. So you'll notice there are 2 options here. So, well, actually, there's 3. So let's take a look at the option. Now, remember earlier on when we said, are you already a Zapier user? And we had 25% say yes and 75% say not yet. Now, if you are an existing user and you know how to do Zapier and all that kind of stuff, the only thing you need to do is go to B1G1 Zap. And Sharon, you might let people know what that does for the 25% so of people that are there. So that would take you, just tell us where that goes.
Yep, so that would take you to the early access page on Zapier. So you can just click that button and say, I want to get access to B1G1 right now. So B1G1, the app is now on early access, which means that it's kind of invitation only. And only after we reach 50 users will we become official on Zapier and public to everybody.
And we want you to do that, by the way, because we want this to be the first giving app. Think about that. The first automated giving app on Zapier, which would be great. So those of you, the 25% of you who already use Zapier, bang, that's where you should go. And Sharon, did you put that in the chat for us as well?
Yes,
okay.
Yeah, I have.
So that's in the chat. So now let's take the other 3/4 of us who are not yet Zapier users. So 2 options for you here if you are new. Here's the first one. DIY, which is, the do-it-yourself option. And you've seen relatively how easy that is, and all you need to do to get the how-to, if you like, is go to that link there, which looks a bit strange when I see it like that, but it's actually B1G1 Zap and then the word self-help. Okay,
self-help.
That means you're going to spend some time trying to figure it all out and do it, but that's useful to do. Now, if you don't want to do that and you'd like to have it happen like that, then this is the DWY option, and I'll explain what DWY means in just a second. In fact, don't have a guess. But given that you'd like us to work with you, by the way, let's talk about. Okay, here's what it means: done with you. Okay, so we will work with you to actually do what Sharon just showed you to do. Okay, and it's very interesting how that works. In fact, let's talk about what is that. Now, normally for us to set up all of those things for you, that would be $250, $250 US. But if because you're on this today, watch the little bouncing ball. Oh, follow it. It's just $195. So think about that. That's really, really cool. And by the way, you've got to be quick if you'd love to do this. And by the way, if you'd love to do it, you just go to bit.ly B1G1 Zap yes, and we'll answer a couple of questions, and away it'll go. And I'll show you in a minute what happens with that. By the way, it's only for the first 50, so do get in quickly with this. Now, what's included when you do that? Well, let's have a look. First of all, you receive up to 2 zaps, and you can see this is part of what we call our Kickstarter package. And if you happen to have a paid thing, we'll do multi-step zaps for you as well. Oh, this is cool. You get, believe it or not, for that $195, you get the customized video recording, which talks about the things you can see on your screen there, and you'll be fully equipped with all your Zapier knowledge that you can do to go ahead and do it. So it's really, really cool to do that. And look at that. After your zaps have been completed, you get an additional 30 days, just figure that out, of people going, oh, no, you need to change this and do this, boom, so that it works. And just in case, there's some little unexpected things that happen. So it means, bang, so it's kind of stress-free. This is the stress-free option, okay? So it's, we maybe need less stress in our lives, don't we? So you can see, and I presume, Sharon, you've put that up on the chat, right? B1G1. Yeah. Zap yes, which is really, really cool. Now, one other thing that you might want to do, and we would love you to do, is let me just stop that for a minute, because I presume that you've all got that link. So let me just come back live, as it were. Well, not as it were, it is live, obviously. And what you might want to do is, Sharon, would you be comfortable popping your email on the chat? Would you be comfortable doing that? I should have asked you that before we started, but there you go.
Yeah, I've just done it.
Yeah, I see that. And the reason that's there is that's for you to say, oh, can we, should we, what if, whatever, okay? So that's there. Thank you, Kylie Anderson. It is amazing. Yes. Tamika, excellent. Carolyn, awesome. Kim asked a question about Excel, and I think the answer to that is no. Sharon, am I right about that? That you couldn't automate it
I
into
think
Excel?
it's with Google Sheets, but not
Google
with
Sheets
Excel
is where you
spreadsheet.
go. Yeah,
Yes,
that's
so
what I
if you
thought.
use
So
Google Sheets, then that's not a problem. Yeah.
you can do the same thing. And there you see all of. Thanks, Kim, for the question. So if you have questions, if you have comments, if you'd like to say to Sharon, Sharon, I loved your first B1G1 special web event, whatever it is, get on there and connect, because this is really all about connection. And I just wanted to say that we are absolutely thrilled that you did that. We are checking all of the things, and for those of you who are getting on and doing either doing your first apps yourself, or alternatively getting us to work with you, that DWY option, we are just thrilled. And the reason that we're thrilled, by the way, is because this, I said before, this is game changing, and it's so cool to be able to work with you to do things that just have not been possible before, and to continue to make our world a better place as a result of doing that. So hopefully there's lots of you doing that. This is really exciting. How long will things in my budget before we go over and make payment? Oh, I should have said that. Thank you for, and by the way, you don't have to pay anything yet. Okay, so, and I'm not sure the answer to that question. Do you know the answer to that question, Sharon, about?
Well, I mean, in terms of the B1G1 giving card, we wouldn't remove things from it, without your permission. So they will be there for as long as you like, until you.
Oh, I see the question now. I get the question.
Yeah.
The answer
But
is,
of course, we would love it for you to check out every week or every 2 weeks. Yeah.
So that's the great thing. All it does is pop it into the cart, and you're in total control of it. So when you push that pay button, boom. I was thinking you were asking how long when you do the yes on the do we by the way, in order to just, let's be clear about that, to get this process started, you don't put your credit card in or anything like that. Just say, yes, I'd love to do this, and we're going to be working with you. Kenny, yes, but just put in one that you actually use. That's true. Yeah. Any final observations from you, Sharon? Because I'm kind of like adrenaline filled right now. Because it's so good to be able to share this with people. So anything from you that you wanted to add to this?
No, that's it. I mean, I think I'm just full of gratitude and very excited at all the questions that are coming in. I promise you we will get to all your questions, and just keep connecting with us. Let us know if you need help with anything, whether you're in the DIY group or the DWY group.
Yeah, exactly. But from us, we're going to, if we were in the office right now, we would have a little celebratory cover. Okay? But since Sharon got there early, we're very early, thank you, Sharon, for doing that, then it'll be a little bit later. And by the way, if you know anybody who missed this and who should be on one this afternoon, which is at 4:20, I think, Singapore time, so 6:20 Australian time, let them know and send them a link, because we think, as I said, this is, oh, look at that, lots of people think game-changing. Okay, so from us, have a magnificent Wednesday, and thank you so much for taking this time with us. We have had an absolute ball with you. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. By the way, we'll keep that chat open for a little while so you can just keep your questions coming, okay? But officially, bye, but keep the chats going, okay? Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.